Chapter 21, The Modern World, 1800 to 1945. So your key topics, not going to linger, you know the drill. Same with your key terms. So, driven by technological progress and rapid changes in the 19th century spawned our industrial modern middle-class culture, including things like mass production, advertising, consumption, leisure activities, such as shopping, entertainment, and visiting art museums. So it's one of those things that you don't think about, right? But art museums didn't always exist, right? Kind of the precursor for museums was the salons, which started in the 1860s. But art museums weren't developed until the 19th century. So we're going to start out by looking at neoclassicism and then romanticism. So the neoclassical style evolved during Napoleon's empire and continued on after he fell from power. And it was felt that great art could only be made with great subject matter, like big historical occurrences or stories from the Bible, stuff like that. It's characterized by clear contours, clean colors, and precise draftsmanship. So the foremost neoclassical painters were David and Ingres. So David we looked at a few chapters ago, right? I think back in chapter 17. And then Ingres is this guy. And this is one of his most impressive pieces, Jupiter and Thetis. So you can kind of see his influence on David. But this piece, obviously, is drawing on Greek themes and Homer's Iliad and the Trojan War, right? So the nymph Thetis is shown pleading to Jupiter, ruler of the gods, to intervene in the war on behalf of her son Achilles. To the left, hidden in the clouds, you can barely even see her, there is Jupiter's jealous wife, Juno, and she spies on the encounter. With its clean contours, clean colors, and precise draftsmanship, the painting is obviously indebted to his teacher, David. Very beautiful. Then after neoclassicism came romanticism, and it rebelled against the age of reason, instead urging the use of emotion, intuition, individual experience, imagination within artworks, right? So it's most definitely a reaction to what came before it, right? These artists glorified landscapes, picturesque ruins, struggle for liberty, exotic cultures, all that kind of stuff, right? Not grandiose themes, right? Like neoclassicism. So Delacroix and Goya are big artists out of this time. So Delacroix, this is his Women's of Algiers from 1834. He changed painting forever. So this painting may not look like a lot, but something that he did with the shadows changed the way that painters thought and looked at art and painting for eternity. So basically what he did is he took complementary colors and mixed them together to create shades. So instead of adding black to colors to make shades, he would do it that way, and it changed the face of painting forever because, as I tell my painting students, black and white are both soul suckers. They suck the color, the pigment, out of paint so incredibly fast that it really can muddy up your paint really, really quickly. But if you create shades by mixing the two colors together, it doesn't do that. And so the amount of depth and clarity and beauty of your colors is so much more vast. And we have Delacroix to thank for that. So everyone say thank you. So this particular piece portrays three women and their servant in a harem, the women's apartment of an Islamic palace. And forms are built up with fully loaded brushstrokes, contours are blurred, colors are broken. So it's not about being 100% real or realistic. It's not about photorealism here, right? It's more about those things. So realism was a reaction against both neoclassicism and romanticism, right? Came after romanticism. And artists sought to depict the everyday and ordinary lives of their subjects. So Ingres was on page 484. Delacroix was on 485, and now we're moving into realism. Courbet was a leading realist artist. He kind of sought to do what Rembrandt did with his capturing of everyday genre scenes, right? But his took it to a whole nother level. This is a print of his prior to photography, right? In order to capture images for magazines, newspapers, all that kind of stuff. The magazines and the newspapers would hire printmakers, right? To get across imagery of things that were occurring, right? Because you couldn't go any place and take a photograph yet, right? So this is a piece called Rue Tronçonneau, and it actually displays a very terrible and tragic event. A little bit closer. That man is dead on top of his dead child. So his most poignant image of the difficulties faced by France is poor. The lithography pictures a family lying dead in their apartment. The father, who died while trying to protect his child, who lies underneath him, draws our attention. Daumier made him the focal point, and his lighting and pose are meant to remind us of the paintings of Jesus Christ, to help us understand the tragic circumstances of his death. It embodies realism's truthfulness and unflinching social consciousness. So this was based on a real thing that happened to French poor. Soldiers came in looking for something. They wouldn't give them the right answers, and so they slaughtered the whole entire family. And Daumier didn't think it was right not to let the public know that, right? So that page is on, or that piece is on page 486. And then this piece is by Courbet. It is a literal physical description of all these people who were real life people, right? So if you lived in that time, just like with Rembrandt's piece we saw a few chapters ago, and you went to the Salon of 1850 and you saw this image and you lived in that area, you knew exactly who all these people were. It was very true to life. So he uses the event as a pretext for a group portrait of Ornans society. He persuaded the local authorities to pose for the painting, and when it was shown at the salon, people were blown away by it. Myers proclaimed it to be a first masterpiece of realism, and it really truly is. And it's huge. It's 16 feet 10 3/4 inches by 21 feet 11 inches. So it's all very life-size, right? If not a little bit larger than life-size. And it's on page 487. So I'm going to pause here.